Hello my friends, Erez Avramov here, founder of Life Rebuilder Academy. Welcome to another episode of the Life Rebuilder Show. I'm happy to be here with you. And today I want to speak with you about a subject that it's a bit touchy for a lot of us. And this is about expectations, disappointments, and reality. It's an explosive combination that so many of us fall between the cracks of how these things manifest in our life and how we interact with them while they happen. So, there are different opinions about expectations and our interaction with them, but the definition of an expectation is basically a preconceived idea of how someone or something should be in the future. So basically, we are trying to predict some kind of behavior or some result in the future. And the reality for us is that it is very, very individual, and it is influenced by our upbringing. It is influenced by our cultural background, by our social environment, by our families, morals, what we were exposed to as kids, in school, with friends. All of those things accumulate over a lifetime and basically forge our character and personality. And this is what we have to work with when we start the process of creating an assumption, because we create it. There are no rules to follow. There is no specific formula that creates the right expectation. So it's kind of a funky in-between situation that most of us do our best, but expectations that are not met create disappointment, and the disappointment creates frustration. We get hurt, we don't know what happened, and the distance between the expectation and the reality sometimes is so wide that is basically the reflection of how terrible the insult and the disappointment is when that expectation is not fulfilled. So today I want to share with you the process of setting up expectations based on my journey and what I've learned, because I have, over the years, on my Life Rebuilder journey, and most of you know this, I have survived 3 near-death experiences in a very short period of time. It was within 8 years. Each and every time, I had to set my own expectations of myself and of others of how this process will take place, how fast I will heal, how people should show up in my life, what kind of support should I have, how will I interact with the situation. And all of these things were basically based on assumptions, and my life experience from one event to the other allowed me to fine-tune it and bring my expectations into a more realistic framework. Not to say that I make the best expectations in any situation, but definitely when we hit rock bottom, the situation that we're dealt with is, we're in a devastating situation, the dark night of the soul. The ability to actually be clear and to make assumptions or to make decisions or to make expectations of how things should be or how other people should be with us is highly diminished just because of the situation we're at. This is a subject that when we are so-called normal is difficult to handle, let alone when we hit rock bottom and we are in that very, very difficult place. So today I want to share with you a little bit about the 3-phase process of what I call the expectation filter. And I have learned to use it because over time I had to refine how I establish my expectations. And I want to be clear here, expectations are vital. This is what gives us strength, motivation. This is what gives us the solace in moving forward, in seeing a result, drive us to the future of what we want, what we see. So please understand, this is a vital process. But the gap between an unrealistic expectation and the depth of the disappointment if it doesn't happen is so big because sometimes we don't understand that there is a process that can allow us to do things in a little bit more fine way. So I'm going to share with you the 3 steps for making an assumption as close to reality as possible. And reality is a loaded word, I know, and for me it's just a subject that I love because reality is through the eyes of the beholder. And it is based on 1,001 different things that change every second. So it's an interesting subject. I'll cover more of it in the future. But today it'll be the 3 steps for making your assumptions as clear and as close for you to what you're faced with. So the number 1 area that you start with is research and study and gathering information. A lot of us tend to be in a position where advisors and experts bombard us with health advice, mental advice, relationship advice, financial advice, whatever devastation you are faced with. All of a sudden everybody is an expert around you and you hear this advice and this contradicts the other and you get very confused. So what do? You go and you surf the web and a gazillion articles, gazillion studies, this is that, the other one says that, you don't know. What I have learned and what I recommend is that your research has to be from reliable sources, meaning real professionals, real expert, not your neighbor that started to trade the stock market and all of a sudden is a financial advisor, or somebody who decided to learn I don't know, how to make herbal teas and all of a sudden he's a health practitioner. So be cautious who you get your advice from and do your research. If it is studies, if it is research related to medical or mental or health related areas, don't just browse the web and find a study and think that this is the right study. Aim towards the highly regarded magazines out there, the peer-reviewed studies, meaning that the author of the study had to take their results and circulate them among other professionals in their industry. Those professionals provided feedback and said, this is right, this is wrong, this is true, this is false, you need to make a stronger argument. And only after all of these professionals took a look at the study and the changes and agreements were made, only then it is published. So you can rely more on the results for that particular study than something you find on WebMD, for example, okay? So be very cautious and know where your sources are. So this is the first step. Research, gather information. It will help you be closer to the reality you are facing. I don't mean that you will become, a PhD in what it is that you need to learn, because this is the process of your healing and you will get there on your own. But without the right information, or if you just hear other people tell you what you need to do and you don't find your own voice and you don't find the real facts and information that resonates with you, then that's a very delicate place to be in. The second phase of the process of the expectations filter is basically remain flexible. One of the biggest issues that we run into is that we set certain expectations, and if we're too rigid in them, life will unfold as it will, and it's almost guaranteed it will unfold in a way that you didn't anticipate. So rigidity and inability to be flexible and to change course when needed will go against you, especially when your assumptions have been made from a place of weakness, of pain, of frustration, and from the dark place that we talk about. So that ability to be agile, to understand that, okay, I thought it's this, but over time you gathered information or you saw certain things in your life that demand you to shift and change, listen to that. There's a gift in that particular shift, and it may take you to a very different direction, but it's probably the right direction for you. So this is the second step of the assumption filter. The third one is do not argue with reality. This is something that I face on a daily basis. I trust that you do too. Again, we make assumptions, we come to conclusions, we think that we know something, and over time we realize that maybe it's not real, or maybe it's not true, or maybe there's a side to it that we haven't had a chance to actually examine and understand. So when you are faced with reality, you have two choices. One, you can argue with reality and try and hammer your point of view to make you right. Most likely, something like 100% of the time, you will lose. So if this has been your pattern, and I've been there many, many times, it's a tough place to be. It's a very, very tough fight because you always lose. The second option that you have is to surrender and accept what is. Now this sounds so high up there and maybe so not grounded for you, but trust me, my friends, this is the most difficult thing to do and probably the most precious gift you can ever give yourself, because reality is reality. What has happened or what is happening right now, you cannot argue with it, right? If you have had an injury, if you go through a crisis, mental, relationship, financial, it is happening. This is real. This is not something made up. So the ability to accept situations and to operate from a place of now you understand where things are and how you can start to navigate, that place, as opposed to the one who's trying to argue and fight reality, will give you your direction forward. So my friends, this is it. In my blog post you will see the process and it's broken down. I hope it will be of value for you. If you enjoy this, please share it with others. This show is starting to gain momentum and people really like it. So for you, just click the button, share it with others, share with me what you have experienced, what your thoughts are. I always love a good discussion around these subjects, and as always, get out there, do your best, find your inner voice, find your inner strength. Whatever you're faced with, there's a reason for it, and you can get to the other side of it. So until next time, we'll see you then. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, do me a favor, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I release this content every week, new content. This is the Life Rebuilder Nuggets, Life Rebuilder Lessons. We are on a journey here to rebuild life and to take it to a higher and higher level. And what I share with you here weekly are things that will give you a bigger perspective, that will be thought-provoking, that will help you shift how you see things, how you see yourself in this world and on this journey. They are extremely beneficial, and if you want to keep and stay in touch with me, do that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Another way to stay in touch with me is to go on my website, erezavramov.com, and subscribe to my mailing list. I release as well, every week I release ideas and concepts and actionable, implementable strategies on how to use certain things in life when you're on the Life Rebuilder journey, and they are extremely beneficial. So you can do both. Now, for those of you who stayed with me for so long, I have a gift for you. I have a present, something that I'm very proud of, something that I have started to implement about 2 years in my life and has really made a tremendous change and shifted things in a very, very noticeable way. So I decided to create a workbook around it and give it to you for free, because this is a needle mover. This is a program I call How to Make Your Day a 10. And I'm very proud of this little puppy because this is something that I have implemented in my life. It has helped me, my wife, my children, my colleagues, my partners. This is something that is actionable things you do every day, small things. Now, it's not the, general affirmations or dream big or, think about general things. These are implementable steps, actionable steps that you take every day. This workbook will help you identify what they are. There are little things that you do for yourself, and those are little things that you do for your wife, for your partner, for your colleague, for your children, that create a condition that your day can become a 10. Now, a 10 is the highest level of a day, and a 10 is something personal for you. So I will help you on this process to identify what they are and how to implement them. This is a beautiful program. I highly recommend it. I created it especially for you, and you can get it for free. You can go to erezavramov.com/10 and download this workbook, or there's a link down below. You can use it, enjoy it. It takes about 30 days, as you know, to implement certain actions and create habits. So there's also a 30-day challenge in here as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Share with me your results, share with me your process. I love to hear it. I hear it all the time, how impactful it is. Simple, 2 to 3 minutes a day. This is all it takes, right? So go ahead, grab yours for free and share with me how you've done.